Impregnable fortress. 15,000 enemy troops. Impossible mission. American Navy SEALs face the most fortified island in modern warfare. North Korean fortress built into solid rock with defenses designed to withstand nuclear strikes. 15,000 troops defending position that hasn't been breached in 70 years. Every military analyst says assault is suicide. But there's something about this island that makes it the most valuable target in the Pacific. And what SEALs discovered during recon phase changed everything about the mission. But here's what they won't tell you about attacking impregnable fortresses. The strongest defenses always have one weakness. Always. And on hour 8 of the operation, SEALs found it. But exploiting that weakness required doing something so insane that command initially refused authorization until they understood what was really at stake. Recently, satellite intelligence confirmed activity on an island fortress that North Korea spent decades transforming into unassailable position. 15,000 troops, artillery embedded in rock, missile systems, radar networks, coastal defenses. What should have been observation target became assault objective. And the reason why reveals something about modern naval warfare that changes everything. Welcome to AndreyNavyReport, where we decode the naval operations that define modern combat. The island appeared on strategic maps as impregnable. Volcanic rock formation, 3 miles long, 1 mile wide, sheer cliffs rising 200 feet from ocean. North Korean forces had spent 40 years carving fortifications into the rock itself. Artillery caves, barracks tunnels, command centers buried under 100 feet of stone, coastal defense positions covering every approach. Intelligence assessment. Conventional assault would require 20,000 troops, minimum with 60% casualty projection. Naval bombardment ineffective against embedded positions. Airstrikes unable to penetrate rock fortifications. Every military doctrine concluded the same thing. This island couldn't be taken by force, but it had to be taken, because intelligence suggested something was hidden on that island. Something so valuable that North Korea concentrated 15,000 troops to defend it. Something that would change Pacific strategic balance if it became operational. The mission went to Navy SEALs, not because they could assault 15,000 troops, but because they could do something conventional forces couldn't. Get inside, identify the target, and maybe, if possible, neutralize it. 120 SEALs against 15,000 North Korean troops in fortress designed to be unbreachable. The mathematics weren't just unfavorable, they were impossible. But SEALs don't calculate odds, they calculate opportunities. And this island had one opportunity, one weakness, hidden in plain sight, but finding it would take something extraordinary. Phase 1, reconnaissance. 2 weeks before assault, SEAL reconnaissance team deployed. 12 operators. Mission map defenses, identify weak points, confirm intelligence about hidden facility. The recon team approached underwater. Swimmer delivery vehicle, 8 miles from island. Submerged approach. Surface at night. Infiltrate coastal positions. Observe. Photograph. Record. What they found was worse than intelligence suggested. The island wasn't just fortified. It was engineered fortress. Every cliff face had defensive positions. Every beach approach was mined. Every cave opening had interlocking fields of fire. Radar coverage overlapping. Patrol patterns systematic. North Korean defenders had created perfect defensive position. But on day 4 of reconnaissance, one SEAL operator noticed something. something that didn't make tactical sense. A pattern in patrol movements. Guards avoiding certain areas, not because those areas were secure, but because those areas were dangerous. What makes an area dangerous to defenders inside their own fortress? Stay with me. What that SEAL discovered would become the key to the entire operation. But exploiting it would require tactics that haven't been used since World War II. Day 6 of reconnaissance. SEAL team conducted detailed observation of the avoided zones, small areas scattered across the island. No defensive positions, no patrol routes, guards actively staying away. Geological analysis from observation, volcanic island with geothermal activity. The avoided zones showed thermal signatures. Hotspots, areas where volcanic gases vented through rock fissures. Most military planners would dismiss this as tactical irrelevance. But SEALs saw opportunity. Because volcanic gas vents meant underground passages, meant ways into the fortress that defenders couldn't use, couldn't defend, could barely approach without gas masks. The recon team marked 7 viable vent locations, entrances to natural cave systems formed by ancient lava flows, unmapped, undefended, and potentially connecting to the tunnel networks North Koreans had carved into the rock. Day 10 of reconnaissance. SEAL team infiltrated 1 vent system. Preliminary exploration. 200 meters into the island through natural cave. Air quality degrading but breathable with rebreathers. Then they found it. Junction between natural cave and military tunnel. The fortress's hidden back door. But back door to what? They penetrated deeper. 400 meters, 600 meters, found multiple junctions, found evidence of facility construction, found traces of specialized equipment, but couldn't risk deeper penetration with only 12 operators and extraction scheduled in 48 hours. They withdrew, reported findings, and mission planning shifted from reconnaissance to assault, because what they'd glimpsed deep in those tunnels confirmed intelligence. This island was hiding something operational, something that needed to be neutralized immediately. Phase 2. Assault planning. 120 SEALs divided into 4 teams. Each team assigned 1 cave vent entrance. Simultaneous infiltration. Deep penetration into fortress interior. Locate and neutralize target. Extraction by submarine after mission completion. Timeline: 24 hours maximum. Any longer, and North Korean forces would locate infiltration teams and crush them through sheer numbers in confined tunnels. Equipment: rebreathers for gas vents, suppressed weapons, explosives, thermal imaging, communications gear. Every operator carrying 80 pounds of equipment for operation that required climbing, swimming, tunnel crawling, and close quarters combat. The mission was approved, but with caveat. If primary objective couldn't be achieved within 24 hours, teams would exfiltrate. No heroic stands, no last stands. Professional assessment and tactical withdrawal. That caveat would become meaningless within 8 hours of infiltration, because what SEALs found deep in those tunnels changed the mission from reconnaissance raid to strategic elimination. Hour 0. 4 SEAL teams, inserted by submerged approach, reached designated vent entrances, began infiltration. Each team 30 operators, moving through volcanic cave systems toward military tunnel networks. Navigation by compass and pre-mapped routes from reconnaissance. Communication between teams via fiber optic cable and low-frequency radio. Advanced slow and methodical. Every junction checked for guards. Every sound analyzed for threats. Hour 2. First team reached military. North Korean forces didn't expect infiltration through volcanic vents. Thermal and gas hazards made those areas no-go zones for defenders. But for SEALs with rebreathers and thermal suits, those hazards were cover. Perfect infiltration route that defenders couldn't monitor, couldn't defend, couldn't imagine being used. All 4 teams reached military tunnel networks within 3 hours. 120 SEALs now inside the fortress. Deep penetration achieved without single shot fired. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2. Locate target facility. Intelligence suggested central complex somewhere in island interior. Advanced technology installation. Purpose unclear. Strategic value assessed as critical. Hour 4. Teams began systematic exploration of tunnel network. Stayed in unguarded service tunnels when possible. Avoided main corridors with guards and traffic. Moved deeper into facility. Found living quarters. Found supply depots. Found command centers. But not the primary facility. Whatever this island was hiding, it was deeper, more secured, more isolated from general garrison. Hour 6. Third team found unusual tunnel, heavily reinforced door, electronic locks, guard post with 8 North Korean soldiers. First enemy contact of the operation. SEAL team neutralized guards silently. Knives and suppressed weapons. 8 guards eliminated in 12 seconds. Door breached with shaped charges. Beyond the door, another tunnel. This one clearly leading somewhere important. Hour 8. This third team followed secured tunnel, 800 meters deep into solid rock. Temperature increasing. Air pressure increasing. Depth now estimated at 400 feet below sea level. They emerged into massive underground chamber, 200 meters long, 50 meters wide, and filled with equipment that made every operator's blood run cold. Submarine pens, underground harbor carved from solid rock, not for small submarines, for ballistic missile submarines. 3 boats under construction, advanced design, with missile tubes designed for ICBMs. North Korea was building hidden submarine base inside Volcanic Island, deep enough to be invisible to satellites, fortified enough to survive nuclear strikes, large enough to construct and service ballistic missile submarines that could threaten the entire Pacific. This wasn't weapons facility. This was strategic game changer. Nuclear submarine base that would give North Korea second strike capability that no intelligence agency knew existed. Mission parameters changed immediately. This wasn't reconnaissance anymore. This was strategic elimination. These submarines couldn't be allowed to reach operational status. But how do 120 SEALs destroy submarine base defended by 15,000 troops in fortress carved from solid rock? Quick question. Against island fortress with 15,000 defenders, what's the most effective weapon? A. Naval bombardment. B. Airstrikes. C. Ground assault. D. Something else entirely. Most military planners choose A or B. They're missing the answer. The answer that SEALs use to destroy an impregnable fortress. And you'll understand what it is by the finale. AndreyNavyReport decodes the naval operations that change strategic warfare. Hour 9. SEAL Command held emergency coordination. All 4 teams now aware of submarine base discovery. Mission objective updated. Destroy submarine construction facility and all boats. Method: demolitions. Problem: amount of explosives required exceeded what teams were carrying. Submarine pens were reinforced construction. 3 submarines represented massive tonnage of steel and equipment. Destroying everything would require tons of explosives. not the hundreds of pounds SEAL teams carried. Solution: use enemy resources. North Korean fortress had ammunition depots throughout tunnel network, artillery shells, missiles, explosives for mine warfare. Tons of explosives stored throughout the facility for defensive operations. New plan: locate ammunition depots, rig them for simultaneous detonation, create chain reaction that would collapse the entire underground chamber and bury submarine base under thousands of tons of rock. Audacious plan with one fatal flaw: rigging ammunition depots would require moving through active areas of fortress, would require engaging North Korean forces, would alert defenders that infiltration had occurred, would trigger fortress-wide security response. 120 SEALs would have maybe 2 hours after first alarm before 15,000 North Korean troops locked down every tunnel and hunted infiltrators to extinction. Hour 10. Decision made. Execute demolition plan. Accept risk. Teams split to locate and rig multiple ammunition depots simultaneously. Speed was essential. Violence of action was essential. Surprise was essential, but temporary. Hour 11. First ammunition depot located by Team 2. Massive storage facility. Hundreds of artillery shells, naval mines, torpedo warheads, enough explosive power to level city block. SEAL operators began rigging charges. Daisy chain detonation pattern. Timed fuses synchronized across all depot locations. Hour 11:30. First alarm. North Korean guards discovered bodies from earlier engagement. Fortress went to alert status. 15,000 troops mobilized to find infiltrators. Tunnel network flooding with searchers. The race began. SEALs had maybe 90 minutes before security cordon made escape impossible. Hour 12. Second ammunition depot rigged by Team 4. Third depot rigged by Team 1. Teams moving through increasingly hostile environment. North Korean forces conducting sweep operations. Contact becoming inevitable. Hour 12:40. First major engagement. Team 3 encountered North Korean Quick Reaction Force. 40 troops. Confined tunnel. No room for maneuver. Point-blank firefight. SEALs won through superior training and violence of action. North Korean casualties, 40 killed. SEAL casualties, 3 wounded. But engagement confirmed to North Korean command that infiltrators were inside fortress. Security response escalated. Thousands of troops flooding tunnel network. SEALs were now hunted by overwhelming force in enemy-controlled terrain. Hour 13. Fourth ammunition depot rigged by Team 2. Fifth depot by Team 4. All charges connected to synchronized detonation system. Set for hour 16. 3 hours for SEALs to fight their way out of fortress before explosions buried everything, including themselves. Hour 13:30. Teams began fighting withdrawal toward volcanic vent exits. Multiple engagements with North Korean forces. Running battles through tunnel networks. SEALs using superior night vision and training. North Koreans using numbers and knowledge of terrain. SEAL casualties mounting. 8 killed. 19 wounded. But teams maintained cohesion, maintained fighting withdrawal. Every operator knowing that survival depended on reaching vents before detonation or before North Korean forces concentrated enough to overwhelm SEAL positions. Hour 14. Team 1 reached their vent exit. Began extraction climb through volcanic caves, under fire from pursuing North Korean troops. Climbing while fighting. Wounded being carried or climbing despite injuries. Hour 14:30. Team 4 reached vent exit. Also under fire. Also conducting fighting withdrawal through narrow volcanic passages where North Korean numerical advantage was negated by terrain. Teams 2 and 3 were deeper in facility, longer route to exits, more North Korean forces between them and escape. Hour 15. Team 2 encountered major obstacle. North Korean forces had located Team 2's vent exit and established ambush. 200 troops, heavy weapons, blocking only escape route. Team 2 commander made decision. Couldn't fight through 200 troops. Couldn't wait for other exit routes. Had to find alternate route in next 60 minutes or die in the explosions they'd set. Hour 15:20. Team 2 located alternate route. Service tunnel connecting to coastal cliff face. Emergency exit for fortress personnel. Defended, but not heavily. 30 guards. Team 2 assaulted emergency exit. Sustained firefight. SEALs overwhelmed guards through aggression and firepower. Casualties. 4 more SEALs killed. 8 wounded. But exit secured. Team emerged on cliff face. 150 feet above ocean. Ropes deployed. Fast rope descent under fire from above. North Korean forces firing down from fortress positions. SEALs descending while returning fire. Wounded being lowered on ropes. Hour 15:40. Team 2 in ocean. Rendezvoused with extraction submarines that had approached during fortress alert. All teams now exfiltrated or in process of final extraction. Hour 15:55. Final SEAL operators clearing vent exits. Wounded being evacuated first. Final operators providing covering fire. North Korean forces close behind. Hour 16. Demolition charges detonated. Synchronized explosion across 5 ammunition depots. Massive underground detonations. Chain reaction through tons of stored ordnance. Explosive force equivalent to small nuclear weapon. All underground. The island shook. Underground chambers collapsed. Submarine pens buried under thousands of tons of rock and debris. 3 ballistic missile submarines crushed under collapsing mountain. Construction facilities destroyed. Underground harbor eliminated. Surface effects. Fortress structures cracked. Some collapsed. Dust and smoke erupting from vent systems. Earthquake sensors across Pacific registering seismic event. But main force of explosions contained underground. Directed destruction eliminating submarine base while leaving surface fortress damaged but standing. North Korean casualties. 400 killed in underground explosions and collapses. Surface facilities disrupted but not destroyed. 12,600 troops survived, but submarine base that justified their presence was gone. SEAL casualties. 31 killed during infiltration, engagement, and extraction. 47 wounded. 42 uninjured. All teams successfully extracted. Mission complete. Underground submarine base destroyed. 3 ballistic missile submarines eliminated before completion. North Korean second strike capability eliminated before becoming operational. Now here's the truth that reframes this entire operation. The fortress wasn't impregnable. It never was. Because every fortress built by humans has one fundamental weakness. The builders are human. They create systems they can survive in. They avoid areas that are dangerous to them. They leave gaps in defenses where environment itself seems adequate protection. Those volcanic vents weren't weakness in the island's geology. They were weakness in human defensive planning. North Korean forces assumed gas and heat made those areas impassable. Assumed nobody would infiltrate through hazardous environment when fortress had so many obvious entry points to defend. But SEALs don't attack obvious entry points. They find the entries defenders don't expect, don't monitor, don't believe are possible. The underwater submarine base wasn't hidden deep enough because hiding underground creates new vulnerabilities. requires air circulation systems, requires power systems, requires construction materials that leave signatures, requires workforce that leaves traces. Nothing that large can be truly hidden from determined reconnaissance. Remember Hour 8, when SEALs found the submarine pens? That's when mission changed from raid to strategic elimination. From that moment, extraction was secondary priority. Destroying those submarines was primary priority. Worth accepting casualties to prevent nuclear-armed submarines from threatening Pacific. Remember those ammunition depots? North Korean forces stored explosives throughout fortress for defensive operations, never imagining those stockpiles would become weapons against them, never considering that infiltrators could turn fortress's own arsenal into demolition charges. Quiz answer: the most effective weapon against island fortress isn't bombardment or airstrikes, it's infiltration. 120 SEALs accomplished what 20,000 conventional troops couldn't. They got inside impregnable fortress and destroyed strategic target that bombardment couldn't reach. This operation changed naval warfare doctrine because it proved fortress defenses aren't adequate against special operations infiltration, proved that underground facilities are vulnerable to internal demolition, proved that 15,000 defenders can't stop 120 infiltrators who exploit environmental hazards as cover. 31 SEALs died completing this mission. 47 were wounded, but they prevented North Korean ballistic missile submarine program from becoming operational. They eliminated second strike capability that would have changed Pacific strategic balance. They accomplished mission that will never be fully declassified, but changed regional security forever. So was attacking impregnable fortress worth the casualties? Was losing 31 operators acceptable price for destroying hidden submarine base? Comment your analysis. But understand this: some targets are so strategic that conventional attack restrictions don't apply. Some missions require tactics that haven't been used in decades. Some fortresses are only impregnable until someone finds the weakness. What's the future of fortress warfare? Can any position truly be made impregnable? Would adversaries build deeper facilities after